All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome into the long-awaited episode number 13 of Pick and Troll, casual 5.5 week layoff from our last episode. So Rex and I are going to be coming to you now in the evenings, a couple times on the weekdays. Then we'll still be looking at doing a Saturday morning show so that we're able to break down that nice Saturday morning slate, be able to get lots of content out there for you guys. Been a while. I recently started a new job. Took me some time to really get into the swing of things. So we're back. We're going to be back a couple times a week, as I mentioned. So certainly keep an eye out. Probably looking at doing Tuesdays and Wednesday nights, or Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and then the Saturday morning stream. So just quickly, a couple housekeeping type items. Make sure you go ahead and check out breakdownsports.com. Being Super Bowl week, it is a big week for us with content over there. We have lots of live streams coming out now. I know that Daryl and Kevin have their Daryl and Kevin show, NBA show that comes out twice a week. Rex is doing his show that they just started, The Break Room. So make sure to go ahead and check out that. Still rolling with Line Breakers FC, as well as I'm probably missing one or two. What am I missing, Rex?
That's good. You're good.
Yeah, that's good for live streams. We got the pods still, so pods are still pumping out content. And make sure to check out the website for all that written content. So make sure you head over there, breakdownsports.com, thebreakdownsports.com. Go ahead to check us out. Find us on Twitter at breakdown_sports, BRKDWN, Instagram, Breakdown Sports, and you can find us on Facebook at The Breakdown. So you can do a search for us there. So going to go ahead and jump right into tonight's slate. So we'll go ahead and kick it off with our news and recaps. So news for tonight, baller of the night, Josh Mballa of Buffalo, put up a double-double, 22 points, 16 rebounds, and 5 steals over Ball State in a 20-point victory tonight. Shockingly large victory there for Buffalo. I believe the line was single digits, probably around 5 or so. So pretty commanding victory there. That is the one baller of the night that we have. Rex is going to talk about the two bigger games that occurred tonight. Just a heads up for an injury notice for tomorrow. Fats Russell of URI. News came out today that he is being considered day-to-day with an injury. URI takes on VCU tomorrow. So with him being declared day-to-day the day before a game, it's likely that he will not play, but we'll get into that game a little bit further on later in the show.
Yeah, Ball State loves their overs, so I'm not surprised that Buffalo covered that big spread, especially since they're a fast-paced team. Yep. In other MAC news, we got to show out some action. Mike Nuja looks like he's going to be out for the rest of the season for Kent State. That's huge for them, one of their best players on the team. You hate to see that. He's a senior, so he'll still have one more year left, but first year with Kent State, who looking better than usual. So for all of you guys that watched Texas versus Baylor, hope you guys all had Baylor tickets because I was on Texas +6, and that did not end up cashing. Texas took a lead in the second half, but the whole time I was texting with my buddies. I was like, this is just pain. There's no way. Baylor, Texas matched them from threes. Baylor had 11, Texas had 10. But when you go 3 for fucking 14 from the foul line, yeah, you're not going to end up winning that game. You lose by 14. Will like a few of those free throws. Might have got my +6 there, but Texas hung with them for a little bit. Maybe it's the first game back. All guys practiced for the first time in 19 days, but Baylor still looks untouchable.
Yeah, I actually didn't get a chance to check out that game, but I was box score watching towards the end of it. So, yeah, that's a tough one down the stretch there because was Texas in it for most of the game till the last 5 or 10 minutes?
Yeah, so there was it's the clip you're seeing on Twitter right now. Greg Brown just posterized somebody and then yelled in his face and got a T. So kind of a nice little 8-point swing or like 6-point swing there where Texas or Baylor makes both free throws. And that's kind of what blew up in the game. I think that happened with about like 6 or 7 minutes left. But yeah, Texas was hanging strong. They just collapsed down the stretch. But I mean, you can't take any possessions off against Baylor.
Yeah, they certainly continue to look like one of the best teams in the nation. I had them on Saturday minus 14. They won by like 12 or 13. They're by and large blowing teams out. So yeah, that's once we get into, I guess, late March at this point. That'll certainly be a team to watch because there's no doubt that they are making a deep run.
Yep, and thankfully, Tennessee and Ole Miss played at the same time, so I was super locked in on Texas Baylor, so I didn't get up the quad box like I usually like to do on these nights. But thankfully, did not tune in. 52-50 win for Ole Miss over Tennessee after just beating Kansas by 19. So that's where Tennessee, that offense just looked putrid tonight. Sucks for them because really they're the one team that I think can give Bama trouble. We saw them. Bama just dropped the OU over the weekend, so not looking too strong from the SEC. Where are they? Maybe only going to get 3 teams in at this point. It's not looking too great overall as a conference stock. When you get a lot of teams are falling onto the bubble that we didn't think would be there.
Who at this point, I think this preseason and early in the season that we're talking Big 12, Big 10. How many do you think get in from the Big 12 at this point?
The Big 12, I think at least 5.
Big 10?
Big 10, I think you're going to get 8, which is going to suck.
Yeah. They really, it's hard. You're counting the teams that are clearly not making it much easier than you are the teams that are really competing, because that conference, it has been really all over the place. When, Michigan will blow out a team and then lose the next day. Michigan State, are they bubble watch? No,
they're way below the bubble. There's like 4 teams. Yeah, there's like 4 teams in right there that I can say you're probably not going to make it. Michigan State's going to need a huge run at the end of this season. Yeah. And they played Iowa tough tonight, but I'm pretty sure Iowa pulled that one out.
Yeah, that game last week, middle of the week, when they just got the doors blown off by Rutgers. That was ugly.
Yeah, that game was never close.
But all right, we can go ahead and I will cover the model recaps. We'll do a quick little promotion item after that, and we'll just run through our picks. So model recap, since we were last on here, there's only been, 600 games that have played. So model currently sitting right at 50%, 600, 581 in 20. So just a hair over 50% there. Multi-point edges coming in just over 52%, 183, 167, and 3. We've started to look at, and I've been betting and using Kelly staking as a different method for analyzing the edges that we have, where we are actually getting line outputs and we are able to calculate an edge. Been using that in handicapping. So that has helped me personally in being able to pull out a profit over the last few weeks, despite not being able to have the volume that I had earlier in the season.
Yeah, I'm happy where I sit. I'll read off right where we are, or right where I sit overall, right after this quick ad read. So it's Super Bowl week, and if you guys don't have a Thrive Fantasy account, you can get it up on your laptop. You can get it on your phone, download that app. They have a $1,000 free contest with 30,000 guaranteed prizes for the Super Bowl. When you deposit $20, if you use the breakdown code BRKDWN, we're going to double it, so you get an extra $20 to gamble with. If you're into cricket, if you're into League of Legends, NBA slates as well, different take on fantasy, DFS fantasy, where you're betting over under props rather than getting assigned random fantasy points for your DFS slate. So it's different style, pretty cool. Check it out. We're partnering up with them for the Super Bowl, so download their app. Use our code BRKDWN, and we'll match you up to your $20 or your first $20. You have to put in 20 to get the price match. So You'll see it in your account within a few hours. And yes, you're welcome for the extra $20 to win some money with.
Yeah, actually, if you were to put in up to $50, they will actually match it up that high, but it does need to be at least 20. So big thanks to Thrive Fantasy. Really fun. We've actually been on board with them over a year now. So it's really cool to see how much they've grown over the past year and see the huge contests that they're putting out for Super Bowl week with over $30,000 in guaranteed prizes.
Yes, sir. So let's get into the plays tomorrow, some overnight action.
Yeah, so obviously these lines come out for people who are tuning in for the first time or aren't your aren't your advanced college basketball better. Lines typically will come out between around 5 p.m. The night before games, and then depending upon if that team plays today or not determines whether there will be a line set or being able to be put out. So Rex was fortunate enough on my behalf, being able to pull together the numbers for us so we can throw out this great episode for you guys. So we'll go ahead and we will jump right in. I've got 3 official picks. Rex has 3 official picks. Both of us have leans that we're looking at because we have team totals that we might be interested in. Those don't come out till either the morning or around 12 noon, depending upon when the game actually tips. So I will go ahead and I will lead us off. Looks like we are sharing 2 plays. So I'll go ahead and lead it off with the one that I have a solo play on. So my solo play, I'm backing Incarnate Word +5, -105, taking on Lamar. As I said to Rex before the stream, is Incarnate Word the team I bet on the most? And the only option in this poll was yes. I think I've bet on them. They've had 11 games. I've probably bet on them on 8 of them. I'm always on them. They are a really, really good 3-point team. And when you're playing in a conference like Southland, right?
Correct.
Cool. When you're playing in a conference like Southland, then there's not a whole lot of competition, not a whole lot of athleticism. Being able to shoot threes is very advantageous. They're going up against a school of Lamar that doesn't defend the 3 well. They also don't defend the 3, or they also don't shoot the 3 themselves. Lamar is a bottom 50 school. Incarnate Word is a bottom 50 school. So as I used to say, you kind of do need to tread lightly. However, just knowing what Incarnate Word can do from behind the 3-point arc, I'm backing Incarnate Word just like the old days. So that's my first play. Nothing too exciting, nothing flashy. As I mentioned, we'll talk your big conferences, we'll talk your mid-majors, we'll talk your shit conferences. And unfortunately for the Southland Conference, they fall into the shit conference category.
Is that like on KenPom and on Bart, is that like the least quality game tomorrow?
I think it's second to the bottom.
I mean, yeah, Lamar's offense is pretty terrible. Incarnate Word's defense is just as bad. So you kind of get both bads meeting each other, and whoever wins that one could do it. But like you said, it's weird when you look at these teams. You usually don't think you would see any green in the bottom 50 teams. And then you do see the 3-point defense and the 3-point offense for Word. So you just got to hope that they get hot.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, green, it's showing them being like a top tier or, top 20% 3-point defense. Certainly you have to take into consideration the quality of talent that they are playing. They're not exactly playing at some of the best players out there. So they were playing in the A10 or the Mountain West or like a legit mid-major, they certainly would not be popping that high, and I wouldn't be betting on them 8 out of their 11 games. To answer your question, the lowest quality game is my alma mater, the Massachusetts Minutemen, take on Fordham. Just because
I think that's Fordham's weighing it down. Well, Fordham breaks 60 against the UMass defense. They haven't done it yet this season, I'm pretty sure. They might have done it once they fired their coach. But
this will be the litmus test.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't gotten St. Joe's yet, so that's kind of where it's just who do you meet first? Do you meet UMass or do you meet St. Joe's first to get your offense back on the roll?
UMass loves giving up points. There's a Twitter account that I follow on Twitter. Duh. It's like a UMass Stan account, and he said that. Hold on, I gotta pull it up. He said that as the Curry Hicks Sage. Shout out Curry Hicks Sage. He actually puts out a podcast of him talking UMass basketball, and he goes on for an hour to 3 hours after every game. So it's real funny. But what did he said, as the new interim coach at Fordham, tomorrow's trip to Mullins Center will be very emotional for me. And he puts 1/87 as if it's going to be an 87 long thread, but still waiting on those 86 other tweets to come out.
All right, so I'll get into my next play or my first play of the show. Currently sitting at 54, 44, and 1 for plus 9.97 units. My 1-1 juice out of the 0.05 units brought me under 10. Was very salty about that. But here we are. So one of these is the 100th play. Pick whatever one you want. I'll probably pick the winner as the 100th play just so it looks better, even if I go 1 and 2. But I'm going to take Florida, South Carolina. I'm taking the over here. There's three big points or three key areas why I really like this over. One, Florida and South Carolina has the 15th fastest pace. Florida plays at the 100th. So my only concern here would be if Florida wants to get South Carolina out of their style and not run it. But we've seen Florida go up and down the court with mostly all the other teams in the SEC. So that's where I think Florida will keep up the pace. Defensive rebounding, both rank in the bottom 50 and both hit the offensive boards in the top 50 rate. South Carolina is actually the 9th best team. So we're going to see a lot of second chance points. And usually what happens when you're a team that gives up a lot of second chance points, both teams are in the bottom 50 of free throw rate. So they're allowing teams to get to the line at absurd rates. So that's where neither of them I can say are knocked down from the line. But if you're going to give me all those extra chances in the second chance points, you're giving me terrible free throw defense where you're going to send them to the line with a good pace. We'll probably see about 72 possessions on each side here. So when I see that, the total is sitting at 154. So it's a little high. Maybe if you wait overnight, might get knocked down a point or two, but I like it at the 154. And then the last thing, just not a trends guy, but South Carolina, their last 4 of their 5 games have gone over the total. So they're a team that, even though not each one has been up in the 150s, they allowed Auburn to get up into 109 the other game. So hopefully Florida gets rolling here.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see the disparity of Florida and South Carolina's offensive rebounding versus, because they're very good at it, and then seeing how poor they are at defensive rebounding. Like you said, those second chance points, when you're looking for a high scoring game, that's certainly a great angle to take. Florida's a great 3-point shooting team. South Carolina is about average at defending it. So I certainly support your play there and taking the over. 2 teams that play fairly fast, as you mentioned. And Florida, over the last month or so, has really started to put it back together. They're playing with a lot more consistency early in the season with Keontae Johnson going down. They were super inconsistent, but we've certainly started to see more consistency with them. That offense looks like it's really meshing even without him, considering he was one of their best players. So I like your side here with the total. Has South Carolina, have they just given up a lot of points lately? Oh yeah, my God, they gave up almost 100 to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that's where when you see that point and then you see the 109 to Auburn, like 85 to 80 LSU, 81 to 70. So you're getting it in the 150s in almost every game, if not higher. So that's where you just got to hope Georgia put up only 59 against them. You just got to hope one of those don't happen.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and I will jump over to our first of 2 shared picks. I'll take this game since you got the better number on the other game. Going to be back in the Hokies. Virginia Tech minus 2.5, I believe is the number we both got. Minus 105. Taking on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is another team that's wildly inconsistent. They have, big wins over. I mean, they fucking destroyed Syracuse a few weeks ago. They were able to beat out Duke in what seemed like a pretty big upset at the time. Obviously, everyone's feelings on Duke are rather polarizing. But Pittsburgh's just super inconsistent. I think that we are getting a great number here with Virginia Tech. I think that Virginia Tech is one of the best teams in the ACC. I don't think that is really too much of a stretch. They're certainly playing extremely well in conference play. So taking Virginia Tech here, minus 2.5. Both of us are on this. Virginia Tech is just really sound across the board. Really good offense, elite defense. And I think that's where Pittsburgh will have the most of their struggles, especially if Virginia Tech is able to slow this game down like they like to, jack up all the Wofford amount of threes that we have seen with them, shooting over 40% of their shots from 3. I think it's going to be hard for Pittsburgh to be able to play the style of offense that they need to win this game. So laying 2.5 in a game where I think that Virginia is the far and away better team. I certainly like this.
Yeah, the one thing I'm a little nervous of is a letdown spot for Tech since they just did beat UVA over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of shows me even more that when you can take down UVA, even though they haven't really played anybody that much, I think Tech was the best team that the Wahoos have played so far. And I mean, their defense is Tech's at a top 25 rate. They do like to play a lot slower, so Pittsburgh's probably going to try to push the pace here because they need to get Tony and Xavier Johnson into transition because Champagnie, that's who Tech's just going to key in on the whole time. And they're able to stop a UVA team that has Huff, who's just better than Champagnie. Different styles a little bit, but Tech lacks a little bit of size here, but since they're able to handle it fine, Pitt's not huge either. So that's where I think the letdown spot's the only thing concerning here. They should be able to control Champagnie. Tony hasn't scored double digits in his last 3. So that's kind of where if you get Champagnie down, you have to look into Xavier Johnson and Tony. And it's just a team defense that can stop UVA. I don't think they should have any trouble on the road at Pitt.
Why did Champagnie miss so many games this year? Has he had multiple injuries?
Yeah, he missed the beginning of the year because of that.
And then he missed a few games in like the middle of the season. So I'm looking at Barton. He's only played 6 games. Oh, nope. Sorry, I'm filtering on conference. Disregard. But yes, he has missed a handful of games.
I mean, he's their guy though. He's averaging 20 points per game. So that's where the Tech defense, I think they're strong enough. They're top 25 for a reason. And just stop Champagnie, Tech should hopefully win.
I mean, not to do the I can't even think of it right now. It's the term I'm trying to use, but not to say just because they beat Virginia by double-digit points that they can't beat Pittsburgh by double-digit points. But if you can beat Virginia by double-digit points, you can beat Pittsburgh by double-digit points.
And we only need them to do it by 3.
Transitive property. That's the word I was looking for.
Nice. All right, so let's get into the last game that we share here. You can still the line if you look hard enough. I think you can still catch a 1 out there, but if not, it's at a pick, and I'd still play it at a pick here. Big lean, and a reason why for this one is Jordan mentioned it at the beginning of this stream. Fats Russell is potentially going to be out, and that's huge for a Rhode Island team where he's their highest usage player by far. He may not have the best shooting season of his career so far this year, where he's probably struggling a little bit there, but he's the motor to that offense. He's their leader. He's everything to that Rhode Island team. And without them, this team is just going to have huge issues. Even with Fats in there, the model is still showing a nice little edge to VCU here. I think one of the biggest reasons why there's a nice edge here is VCU's turning teams over with the Havoc defense at the 7th best rate in the nation, and Rhode Island's bottom 50 to 75 team in committing turnovers. So both of these defenses are going to be the stalwarts. So if you like an under, this could be a good under for you to total at. But with VCU, they do play with a decent amount of pace. That's the only thing with unders in VCU is that if they're just if you're just stuck in that press, it's just going to be a nightmare. George Washington had it happen to them earlier this season. But yeah, with VCU, just better, well-rounded team. Bones Highland, if you haven't been watching him so far, he's having his best season and is just showing out right now. He's a great guy to watch. 24 and 28 in his last 2 games. So I expect Bones to be going off tomorrow.
Honestly, kind of wish Fats Russell was playing so we could have Bones Highland being defended by Fats Russell. I think that would be a really fun matchup for first team all name. Going back to what you said about kind of eyeing the total, is that when VCU is able to just absolutely stifle a team, there's nothing they love doing more than just blowing them out. So perhaps if you are thinking of a total, wait till tomorrow morning when Pinnacle and some of the other places start posting team totals, because taking a Rhode Island team total under, you're probably getting, let me see some real quick math. You're probably getting around a 68. which if they are playing without Fats Russell, who is their primary ball handler, that's a great angle to go off, because they're going to really struggle, especially if the VCU defense stifles them. They get them stuck in that zone with the Havoc style defense that Rick mentioned. They're going to struggle to score. And while VCU, once they really get it turned on, they like to put it on teams. They could score if Rhode Island scores like 60-ish, all that they would need to do to break that total, VCU, is score 75, which I don't think is out of this world to expect out of them. So I think that if you're looking at a team total or looking at the total, just wait, see what Rhode Island gets posted for their team total. The +1 on VCU is still available. It's available right now at Pinnacle. You are going to be paying a little bit of juice. It's at -115 right now, but certainly worth the play. I got it at a pick. Rex was fortunate enough to get it at a better number, just going right after that news came out. Places like BetOnline immediately moved the number just from the action that they were receiving. So I think that should Fats Russell be declared out, which I think we're both in agreement here that day-to-day means he's likely not going to play, VCU should roll to a 5 to 10 point win here against URI.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than trying to go up against that VCU Havoc press without your point guard. St. Joe's tried to do it, obviously not in the same caliber as Rhodey did, but they got thromped. So wouldn't be surprised where, I mean, George Washington, Jameer Nelson Jr. transferred out, and they were struggling with the press where they were literally just throwing it to him. It's like teams have never seen it. Yeah. Not many teams in the A-10 do it probably that frequently, so that's probably a reason why VCU does catch a lot of people. But even if Fats does play, the model obviously accounts for him playing tomorrow. It's still showing an edge with him in there, so that's what makes me feel extra confident in this one.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, teams that just don't have a sound point guard, primary ball handler really struggle. I mean, look at a week ago, Dayton put up a whopping 43 points against VCU. Mind you, they shot like 15% from three, so that's not ideal. But just goes to show you how that a really quality team is able to be held to a very low score against this VCU defense.
Yes, sir. So let's recap our plays real quick before we get into the trolls.
Yeah, so my first play, I have Virginia Tech -2.5, -105. Our projection is sitting just under -4. I have Incarnate Word +5, -105. Projection is at a pick. Clearly, the model really likes three-point shooting teams. And then my last pick that I have is VCU at a pick, -110. Projection has VCU -1.
Yep, got VCU +1, -110, Tech -2.5, -105, then Florida, South Carolina over 154, -105. I forgot we got to get into our leans real quick.
Yeah, so actually, I was going to hop right in ahead of you before you could start trolling people. So my lean for tomorrow that I'm really looking at is the Tulane game. Tulane's taking on the Wichita State Shockers. What I'm eyeing in this game, so model showed an edge, a little bit of an edge on Shockers. I think it's -11. Yeah, -11. Line's at -11. Model's projecting like -11.5. What I like in this is just that Wichita State defense and that Tulane really can't hit shots. As I had asked Rex, as we always communicate before streams and kind of just throw our bets back and forth between each other, I said, why is it that I'm thinking about laying 11 with Wichita State? And he said, because Tulane can't score unless it's a dunk, which is pretty true.
They're not even that good at dunks.
No.
I looked at that after I said that too. I assumed they're close to save and suck. So this team cannot finish unless it's at the foul line.
Yeah, Ron Hunter, I mean, he's having a better year than last year, but that's not saying a whole lot. They have almost no quality wins of any kind. The best team that they've actually been able to beat is Temple, and I don't think Temple will be dancing this year. Big surprise there. In case anyone had bet Temple at +1 million to win the national championship. So what I'm looking for tomorrow is hoping, with the total currently set at 137, I'm hoping that I'll be able to get a Tulane under 63 and a half in that range. If it is, then I'm certainly going to play the Tulane team total under. If it's lower, I'd have to do some more digging, kind of look into what Tulane's doing, how they've performed over the last 3 to 5 games, just to see what to truly expect from them.
Yep, definitely like that angle and that team total under. Kind of going the reverse way, and I kind of like an over here, and definitely like the team total over here. The Nova Johnny's over 151 and a half is enticing, but that's came down, I think, 2 points since open. So no reason to rush onto it now unless someone's trying to shape a number here. But maybe I'll hit it up when I get in the morning. The Nova team total over is the one that's way more intriguing. And the one thing they're doing, rest in peace, John Chaney, very well at Nova, is they're the best team at not turning over the ball, which is leading them to have the 5th best of efficient offense in the nation. When they're just finishing plays out with a shot every single time. And when you do that against Johnny's, who is a team that loves to run, that's usually very successful. One of my biggest bet regrets of the season was not playing the Johnny's Utah Valley game that was like 2 weeks ago, just because it was a filler. Because that one soared over because Johnny's, they play at the 12th pace. The biggest reason keeping me off this total overnight is Nova plays at the 310th pace, but when they're finishing every shot, I don't think it should be an issue. Johnny's defense actually ranks higher than the Nova, or Johnny's offense ranks higher than the Nova defense, which I was kind of shocked to see. So that makes me like the over even more. But I mean, playing any total in the St. John's games when you can find it in the high 140s, low 150s has been cashing pretty well this year, just because they're abysmal on defense, even though Mike Anderson's trying to change that around.
Hasn't that kind of been the story with St. John's over the last few seasons?
Well, when you play with that much tempo and pace, it's impossible. Yeah. It's impossible to have a top 50 defense.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, is you're just putting yourself at risk so much throughout the game, and you're usually fouling more frequently too.
Yep. So as you mentioned, John Chaney, I think we both got to mention 2 of our favorite John Chaney moments. As a UMass alum, I absolutely love, and someone who hates on Cal, although I realize it's kind of unwarranted. I realize I should like him more than I actually do. His beef with Coach Cal in the early A10 days of the early to mid 90s, when he ran into a Cal press conference immediately after a Temple UMass game, and he called him an Italian son of a bitch. I'll kill you. It has got to be one of the biggest power moves that's ever happened between 2 rival coaches in a sport, in a press conference. I mean, it's not like they got into a fight on the sidelines, not hockey coaches getting into a fight or anything. These are 2 basketball coaches in the middle of a press conference screaming at each other. What was yours?
Just any St. Joe's Temple game, just being from the Philly area, those games were just rock fights. And people were just getting drilled left and right. There's the one game where John Chaney just said goon it up, where he suspended himself for a game after it because he purposely sent a guy in to foul hard. Oh, yeah. He ended up fouling out in 4 minutes after fouling because he felt like he wasn't getting the calls. And he ended the one dude's career for St. Joe's. I think his name was Matt Bradley, because he broke his arm when he fouled him going up for a layup. So, like, that game, like, I can't have a sour taste in my mouth from him, just because that was the way the St. Joe's and Temple's games were, where they were just bloodbaths, and it just encompassed like just what I liked in basketball. So it was always cool to watch those 2.
I actually just pulled up the Wikipedia page for John Chaney while you're talking, and it literally, he's quoted for saying, "I'm going to send in what we used to do years ago, send in the goons."
Yep, the goon it up game.
That is too good. So that's what we got for our plays today. That's kind of the recap. Now we're going to jump into the trolls. It's been a while. I'm going to kick it off, and I am my own troll today. For over a month, I was unable to commit to a stream, despite there being 7 days in a week. I was using the excuse of a new job and just general inability to plan ahead for never being able to get on a stream with Rex. So I apologize to Rex. I apologize to the 3.5 viewers that we have, our 2.5 loyal fans, and then my burner account, who's the other one fan. So sorry, guys. Back, hopefully getting on here a couple times a week, so you'll be able to see mine and Rex's ugly mugs.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the January month is notoriously the month that bettors get killed in. So maybe it's not the worst thing that you missed that post-Christmas lull for there, because that's when the books really start getting sharp, in my opinion, because football's done. Eyes are more on there. And yeah, that's one of my biggest reasons where it could have been a blessing in disguise.
Although, I don't know, is it cricket season? You mentioned Thrive and cricket, so maybe the books are going to be starting to sharpen up those lines for the 3-day affairs that go on over in India.
Darts, that's where the money's at. All right, I got two. One's a real quick one. You made me think about it when you talked about Tulane. The American fucking blows at basketball this year. Yeah, Houston's going to be the only team that gets in the tourney. They're going to be a one-bid conference unless someone upsets in the conference tournament at the end of the season. But yeah, tried to ride that Tulsa wave. Wasn't going too hot for a little bit there. No one else is just stepping up as number 2. It looks to be Memphis or Wichita at this point, where neither of them, they're a fringe bubble team, if anything. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was trying to pony up for a minute. That didn't work in my favor. Like you said, we tried riding the Tulsa wave. That wasn't good. I backed Memphis early in the season against some teams that they had no business being backed against. So, yeah, it's a tough look for the American.
Yep. I guess don't ever want to hype up Steven, but maybe UConn leaving that conference really did kill it.
I mean, I think this officially supplants the A10 as the premier mid-major that begins with the letter A. Correct?
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Second one, even though you guys won me money and potentially might win me money tomorrow, we always got to go at Nova when I get the shot. You're really going to deny all of us diehard fans, the casual basketball fans, everybody, where you're free Saturday, Gonzaga's free Saturday. Word on the Twitter streets is Gonzaga asked them to come play, neutral site game, find it in Texas somewhere, and Nova declined it. Like, I know Zaga's trying to get one more big guy in there. Nova doesn't want to hurt their resume at all, but just do it for the fans, and especially in this season where that would be a premier matchup. Gonzaga probably still covers the spread easily in that one, but that's a game that Nova, how you turn it down, just a spineless school. Easiest way to put it.
Did you see the Goodman tweet he had like an hour or so ago?
Yeah, he's still vouching for it. I'm on Goodman's side on this one. Get it done.
Villanova is likely to play Georgetown this weekend instead of Gonzaga, source told Stadium. Boo.
That's exactly how I felt. Exactly, where I guess maybe the Big East told them that you guys already missed enough conference game as it is. You guys got to make the certain threshold. But I mean, what exposes your conference better than anything if they take down the undefeated Baylor or Gonzaga, not Baylor?
Although, as much as I want to give him credit, I did see that he also has Villanova as his third-ranked team, and that kind of upsets me.
Well, that's the big question on the college Twitter is Gonzaga, Baylor, easy, first 2. Who's your next 2 at this point?
Yeah, but that's what we got for today's show. So thanks, everyone, for tuning in with us. A little quick 30-minute show. We'll probably be backing in tomorrow, or we'll be backing in on Thursday. So thanks for tuning in. As always, make sure to check out the website, breakdownsports.com. Check us out on Twitter at breakdown_sports. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook as well. Any parting words, final shots?
Nah, just follow me on Twitter if you want some jargon basketball talk, points per games, points per possessions. Got it all.
You're full-time basketball now? Will footy?
Yeah, AJ and Joey B definitely are happy with me neglecting footy. My soccer record has dropped like 2 units since I've just neglected it completely, but that's in the morning. It's perfect. Gets me started for the day.
Yeah, real early in the morning. But that's all we got for today's show of Pick and Troll. As always, Rex, Jordan here signing off from episode number 13 after a 4-week layoff. We're back, boys.
See ya.